Hey guys, it's the MetalBlade 5, and welcome back to another MetalBlade theory. Now, of how much I respond to game theory, one theory that I do like is the one universe theory, because I thought it was really interesting to see all those references. Although I recently found out that the Konami characters in Snatch are actually people in costumes and not the actual characters. But aside from that, an issue I did have was that some of the universe's rules don't really apply to each other well if they were the same universe. For example, if Metal Gear Solid and Yu-Gi-Oh! Shared the same universe, then why doesn't Snake just duel everybody? I mean, that's how everything works in Yu-Gi-Oh! Also, and this is finally getting to the point of this theory, is that I also thought that it was possible that these references and guest appearances could be caused by things like wormholes, as I mentioned in my first theory. Now, this links to my theory. I highly doubt this is true, but what if Project Cross Zone caused most video game crossovers, cameos, guest appearances, etc.? Now, the reason why I use most is because I'm only applying this to instances where a crossover occurs either from dimensions crossing over or where there's no explanation. Crossovers that exist in the same world, such as Street Fighter Cross Tekken, and crossovers like Smash Bros. Where everything is just the imagination of a kid, do not apply to this. I've talked about Project Cross Zone before, but I'll explain again here. The game is a crossover between Capcom, Namco, and Sega franchises, and the plot of the game is that a stone, known as the Portal Stone, is stolen by an evil organization called Oros Flux, if that's the correct pronunciation, which causes the universes of these different franchises to start crossing over with each other. Throughout the game, the characters are constantly entering and exiting different universes because the Portal Stone being stolen caused rifts, which make the characters cross between universes from either things like walking into a building or just being straight up teleported. Now, there is one bit of throwaway dialogue which made me come up with this theory, and that is in Chapter 10, when Lady says to Dante that people are just disappearing from the streets. This means that it's not just the heroes and villains that are being affected by this. Other people are being affected to this as well, and this is just in the Devil May Cry universe. Since this happens to characters no matter which universe they are in, as seen in the game, this likely means that people from other universes are also being affected by this. This means that crossovers that involve universes crossing over, cameos, and guest appearances from characters could be a result of the rifts caused by the Portal Stone being stolen. And going back to game theory, this can also explain the appearance of real-life people such as Mike Tyson and Tony Hawk. But there's more! One issue I was having when making this theory was that in Project Cross Zone, most of the Capcom characters know each other. For example, Chun-Li knows Morrigan. This is in reference to the various Capcom crossovers, such as Marvel vs. Capcom. At first, I couldn't fit Marvel vs. Capcom and the other vs. Capcom games into this until I remembered another piece of throwaway dialogue in Project Cross Zone. In Chapter 20, when the game explains how the bosses keep coming back after being killed and how villains who die in their respective franchises are alive in the game, the explanation is that the rifts have started to mess with life and death. But there is also a mention that they are also messing with time and space. If this theory was true, then it would explain how the Capcom characters don't know each other in the vs. Capcom games, because the rifts are messing with time and space, causing them to cross over at a point in their life prior to Project Cross Zone. It's like some weird time paradox, where they know each other in Project Cross Zone due to the events of the game causing them to meet in the past. This could also explain character cameos where a character has not finished their adventure in a game that came out after their respective game. For example, Samus's cameo in Super Mario RPG where she's resting from Mother Brain, even though Super Mario RPG came out after Super Metroid and the original Metroid where Samus defeats Mother Brain. This whole theory could also apply to non-video game related stuff. For example, guest characters in Mortal Kombat or Spider-Man in Tony Hawk's Pro Skater. So that's it for this short theory. I highly doubt this is true, but it could help explain a lot of references and crossovers in video games very well, and I thought it'd be a fun idea to think about. But if you do believe in it, remember, it's just a theory, not fact.